upstairs.
Turning a commercial space into a functional home is never easy. It's often messy. But the mess one Texas couple encountered in an old feed store would have sent even the most hardcore renovators running. Let's just say it was an animal house in many ways. But today the place is tamed and even domesticated.
Back in the 1930s, when you needed something in LaPorte, Texas, you went to Sharp's Grain Company. Feed, seed, chemicals for the farm, plants, baby chicks, garden supplies, you name it. This place was the center of commerce. That was then. This is now. Houston's Seaport is a bustling commercial zone. And 35 miles away, the old feed store is just a drive-by on the highway. In 1996, Roelof and Judy Nievenhuis turned the old feed store into their home.
It's a landmark that was just going to waste, and we knew we could do it.
That's saying a lot considering the condition of the place when they bought it. The Sharp family closed the doors in 1979, and it sat abandoned for 17 years.
The darkest day was probably the first time I ever walked into the feed store. There was just old rusty equipment, and owls were living here, and it just was so overwhelming.
But what it lacked in charm, it made up for in potential. And Roelof knew that with a lot of good old-fashioned elbow grease, they could make this place a charming home.
I could pretty well see the overall outlook of the whole upstairs, 2,500 feet of living space.
Roelof had such a clear vision, he didn't even use blueprints in designing the space. Through the grain chutes and chicken coops, he was able to see bedrooms and bathrooms. And all he and Judy used to carve out the space.
We took our chalk and we started to mark where the doors are going to be, where everything was going to be, and this is how we did it.
And what they did was create a classic, beautiful home out of a filthy, functional space. The downstairs is used for storage for their antiques, and the upstairs is their living quarters. But traces of the feed store days are still woven into the texture of this place. Downstairs, original 21-foot spans of old pine flooring still show wagon wheel gouges. The original grain chutes still stand ready for the next bag of barley. And they even left pencil marks used for calculations on the wood.
And instead of having a piece of paper, it's like, okay, we needed so much. Here is 60 and 92, it's 152. And they were just adding things up as they go along.
Besides structural reminders of the Sharp Grain Company, Judy and Roelof also lucked into countless antiques once used to run this place. They set aside a museum room to commemorate the feed store days, where they keep old advertisements, the original engine used to run the machinery, and even the old seed bin.
The scoops are color-coded for different sizes for the grain. So depending on how much they wanted, they would just take a little scoop like this, pour it in a little sack, and sell the seeds to the public.
The upstairs is very private, with a spacious master bedroom and even a loft area.
It's nice to go upstairs and lay in a beautiful bed where rats used to live and owls, and we have just moved them out and we moved in.
The rooms are filled with antiques now rather than wildlife. Much of the decor is from Roelof's native Holland and all over Europe. But the contemporary kitchen is Judy's favorite spot in the house.
Actually, a starting point to this kitchen was this window, because I love looking out of it. I love to see the activity in town. So I knew that I wanted the sink here.
And even though everything looks standard, this entire kitchen was actually custom fit just for Judy and Roelof.
The counters here are 40 inches high, and we did them because me and my wife are tall.
The downstairs is filled with antiques, and they have a lot of Dutch goods. Outside, Judy and Roelof took what was an acre of overgrown mess and turned it into a garden oasis of fruit trees, flowers, and even chickens.
How about some corn this morning, huh? That's what a happy chicken does. Thank you so much. That makes for a nice breakfast.
And it's not just the chickens that are happy with this transformation.
The grandchildren and the children of the Sharps, to see this building saved and to be brought to such life and such beauty, it's just something that they're so pleased about, and I think that's a real tribute and a real honor to us.
Even though the feed store is gone, the history of the place lives on. And Judy and Roelof feel their home is a link with the past, present, and future of this unique property.
We did all this to give this property life beyond our life.